When I felt out of sync with my style, I felt like people really couldn't see the actual me. And more than that, I felt like I wasn't being the actual me. I was criticizing myself, my body. I was feeling so uncomfortable. And all the while, I spent a lot of time shopping, trying things on, and searching for the answers and trying to figure it out. And although I found helpful style advice, I never saw people talk about styling in the way that really works for me, which is what I call the holistic perspective. Since discovering this perspective, I have transformed my own style, and I've worked with more than 1,000 people through my consultations and my courses, and I've heard over and over again how fresh, how deep, how transformative this perspective is. So you might be taking in a lot of style advice and feeling like it's all still so complicated, there's so much to figure out, and if you're there, this is the video for you. First, I want to explain what I think is missing from most style guidance that we tend to encounter. This style guidance says that you need to start with figuring out what you can pull off, what works on you. And this is usually grounded in your physical appearance. It's especially a lot of focus on your body shape, also on your personal coloring, or maybe your facial features or your age. This physical, what do I look good in? And the holistic perspective on style is to look beyond just the body when thinking about what you can pull off, what you can look good in. The powerful truth is that what we can pull off is not based only on our physical characteristics, but it's based on the way that we are as people, our personal energy, or what I refer to as our essence. You could be a petite, curvy woman with the sweetest, cutest face, and then you would be told to wear things that are cute, feminine, frilly, and sweet, little dresses. But if your personal energy is very earthy, bohemian, kind of raw and wild, then those frilly, sweet dresses will not be your best style because there's a mismatch between the way that you are and the way those dresses present you. So you might be able to pull it off in a photo, but from the holistic perspective, that style doesn't work for you. And from this perspective, your style journey would not be about getting used to those frilly dresses and getting over it, but about finding a way to work with that earthy, wild energy and bringing it out while considering your delicate physical shape. It's so obvious when I say this way, but of course, the way that we are is not directly tied to the way that we look. Just because you're tall and have striking personal coloring doesn't mean you necessarily have the personal presence of an Amazon warrior. You might just be a very soft spoken, gentle, sensitive, and reserved person, and there's nothing wrong with that. So when we're thinking about what do I as a person look good in, what can I pull off, we have to think more about than just our body, and we have to think about that from the beginning. We also have to think about how we show up in the world and our energy. The holistic perspective is all about finding a style that enhances and honors this personal energy. Let me give you two examples of stylish popular characters so you can understand exactly what I mean. Let's start with Wednesday Addams from the show Wednesday. I loved her, played by Jenna Ortega. Objectively, Wednesday's physical body doesn't look powerful, but Wednesday has an extremely strong personal presence. She's very willful, she's guarded, she's very determined, and her style reflects this, right? She wears primarily black in a striking contrast with bright white. She has this tightly braided hairstyle, high, pointed, closed collars. She wears very flowing, loose layers over her petite frame to de-emphasize her body shape. Everything about the way that she dresses says, like, stay away, and I know my power. Wednesday's style is not iconic because of the way it looks on her body. It's iconic because it's so her, it's so suitable to who she is. She's pulling it off because there's a match between the moody, dark power of her clothes and the moody, dark power of her own energy. Here's another character with iconic style. Let's look at Carrie for Sex and the City. I would describe her style as outrageous, over the top, experimental, glamorous. The style she's known for doesn't objectively look best, and it doesn't always make her look her best. That's the point. Her style is pretty controversial, and that's how it's meant to be. It is playful, it's experimental, it's over the top, it's fun, creative, careless, just like the Carrie character herself. She's very polarizing, adventurous, attention loving, and her style really suits that story. So Carrie and Wednesday are, of course, dramatic examples. You might not feel like your essence or your desired style is so out there and so exaggerated, but the principle is the same. You have your own flavor of personal energy, your own unique gifts, and we all thrive when we style ourselves with that energetic presence in mind. In this video, I'm going to explain two very simple, very powerful steps you can take if you're interested in this energetic approach to style. And then if you want to go deeper, I have spent years building an amazing and very user-friendly style framework to help you work with this. So let's get into the steps. Step one is to open yourself up to the broader energetic perspective on style in general. In my experience, a lot of people are actually really dismissive, and they can use dismissive terms like woo-woo or weird when you try to talk about energetic concepts and the idea that people have a presence that's more than just the literal sum of their physical features. And those people are, of course, entitled to their own approach to style and to life, but the people who don't care about essence or energetic presence are not the people that get to define it. As an analogy, for most human beings, being in nature is super restorative. That doesn't mean everybody loves nature, but it also doesn't mean that the people who dislike nature change the fact that nature is very, very nourishing for most people. And it's the same thing with energy and style. Some people just are not interested in the energetic angle. Their goal is to create outfits which are on trend, or look good in a photo, or which make them look like a slim hourglass, and they have those priorities. Just because that approach works for them doesn't make that the overall reality. The reality is that we as people are very connected and very responsive to other people's energy. We don't analyze this energy on a very deep level, but we connect with others by forming quick, mostly surface level, general impressions about the way that they are, and style is a huge part of this impression. So the first step is to open yourself up to this perspective and to realize that if you feel like a bit like iffy on it, it's just because that's kind of the norm and that the energetic perspective is not often discussed. But you probably know some people who are really operating around the idea of dressing for who they are. Maybe it's characters like the ones I mentioned. Maybe it's close friends or people you love. Maybe it's some influencers or style teachers you like. Just find someone who talks in a way that widens your perspective and tune into them. They don't have to be necessarily talking about their energy in this explicit way, but the theme might be there. You can also look at who are the people whose style thoughts really influence and connect with you. Are they taking that aspect into account? Because you might be part of a style community where people just try to look skinny and tall as possible, or they try to conform to a specific look, or in your friend group, maybe there's a strong pressure to like live up to current trends without reference to individuality. Or you just have some built-in messaging that says, you must try and wear the most flattering shapes and colors as possible, and you don't even know exactly where it's coming from. It could be really helpful to identify the source of these thoughts, norms, and to distance yourself from some of these voices that limit your understanding of what style can be, so that you can expand into this bigger picture of style. The second step I suggest is to practice noticing the connection between personal essence and style. It's so much easier for some reason to analyze and perceive other people than to see ourselves. So before you start styling for your essence, especially if the concept of essence feels unfamiliar to you, I want you to look at people around you and feel into them. Connect with the idea that there is such a thing as essence, energetic presence, that you do perceive it, and you do connect with it in your individual way. I promise that you have at least one person in your life who has a pretty clear personal energy flavor. So just start with that person. It could be a coworker, a friend, somebody you've only even met a few times. Maybe it's your mom that comes to mind and you think like, yeah, she's very controlled, she's very precise, very intense. She has this really like go-getter energy. So does her style reflect that? What aspects of her style work for that? Maybe your mom wears a lot of like iron button-up blouses, or she wears classic jewelry like watches and elegant stud earrings, and it's all very serious. It's fun to analyze her through that lens. And on the other hand, also to think about, is there something about her style that doesn't match and which creates a bit of that dissonance? Maybe she wears a lot of super muted gray colors, and you feel like her personal energy is really vibrant, sharp, and dynamic. Isn't that about critique? Definitely don't talk to this person about this. This is just about connecting with what you feel makes sense as the intersection of essence and style and honing this perspective. And part of that is noticing things that are really harmonious and things that you feel are a bit dissonant. Here's another exercise I love. You can take a celebrity whose style you don't like and then try to analyze, how does this make sense for who this person is, their energy and their essence? For example, a lot of people really don't like Kim Kardashian. She's a very polarizing figure. I think the really fun thing about Kim is that she has cultivated this image of total intimacy. You can see her naked, you're welcome into every drama and conflict in her life, and she's physically bearing her body in very nude colors, very body hugging shapes. Everything is revealing. So it's like, even though her style is very, very deliberate, it's deliberate to create this impression of total availability, vulnerability, and openness, whether you want to look like Kim or not. I think it's amazing to think that her style really perfectly makes sense for the energy she is bringing to the world, the vibe that she, as a public figure, is trying to cultivate. So it can be really fun to practice opening to this idea of essence in other people without making it into a test about whether there's a right answer and your understanding and you have to figure it out. Just try connecting with that inner knowing, apply the analysis to people you know, characters you love, and let that perspective grow within you organically. Because we're not a static picture, we are complete beings who bring our personal energy and flavor wherever we go. And whether you want just a sprinkle of your energy or you want the entire ocean, you deserve a style that enhances that personal energy and that essence. You deserve a style that really honors and celebrates who you are, because this is what's going to help you feel more comfortable being yourself. That's what's going to help you grow as a person and to fully express and bring out your unique gifts into the world. So, if you want to learn more about how to do this, I'm going to link some resources in the description box below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.